TX Factor is brought to you in association with Martin Lynch & Sons, the world's favourite ham store. Hello, and welcome to episode 11 of TX Factor. In this special edition, we return to Mike Marsh's old school in Devon and report on one teacher's enthusiasm that helped the school to be selected for the final ARIS amateur radio link-up with Tim Peake on the International Space Station. And we go behind the scenes with the ARIS team to see the technology that makes such an event a great success.
Ignition.
We all remember the amazing images of Tim Peake blasting into space.
A second service tower separation.
Destined for his 6-month Principia mission aboard the International Space Station, one of his experiments would be to carry out amateur radio QSOs with 10 schools during the winter and spring of 2016. The ARIS organisation, in partnership with the UK Space Agency, were to combine resources to make this amazing event possible. And one school in Devon was very keen to ensure they were on the list.
I'm just getting myself sorted to rush out the door actually, necking the coffee, scoffing the croissant, because I'm heading off to King's School to meet up with Alison this morning. I've got the old lunchbox packed, I've done my homework. I need one more thing, hang on a second. Apple for the teacher. Oh yeah, see you at school.
Our very own Mike Marsh, a former pupil of the King's School in Ottery St Mary, is on a mission to meet with STEM and science teacher Alison Argent-Vence to help draw up the school's application strategy.
This is my old bumpy country lane route into school that I used to take as a schoolboy 5 days a week on the rickety old school bus, which I'm sure used to break down more often than get us into school successfully, and there was more smoke inside the thing than there was coming out of the exhaust at the back. Really excited to get to school. Haven't been there for a long time. I've got no idea how much it's changed. Probably quite a lot, but it would be nice to see my old classrooms and just soak up the vibes of what it was like when I was at school over 30 years ago now. Here it is, my old school. I was a good boy at school, so hopefully I'll be able to turn up and they won't recognise me as one of those unruly ruffians that was masquerading as a student. I think the school bus used to break down about here every time. Well, I made it to school without breaking down. A bit nervous actually. Alison,
nice to see you, Mike.
Great
Come
to see
on
you
in.
too. Thank you. Wow, this is my old science lab.
No way.
And it still smells completely the same.
Oh, I bet it's changed a bit since then, though.
It looks very different now, yeah. You've still got the gas taps on the desk, which were always a source of much fun during lessons. And yeah, it just looks like a 21st century school now.
It's much more modern, isn't it?
Completely different. Wow.
And so work begins on formulating a plan for the school's application document, a proposal that must show the agencies how the school intends to host the event, along with the other STEM, amateur radio and space-related activities that will take place during the weeks leading up to and after the proposed link-up with Tim Peake.
I have no idea how many schools are going to apply, so we need to put in something that's quite outstanding. We need to make sure we are ticking all the little boxes in their application pack. I think if we include as many people from the community as possible, we stand a good chance.
So what do you think the students will get out of this big event?
I I think the kind of opportunities they will have, other than long-lasting memories, will be the opportunity to focus on space exploration in a way that is outside of the normal curriculum. Sometimes we deal with space in science lessons, obviously physics, but the way it links in with everybody else's life in all those other subjects, it doesn't often get covered. We don't have the time, we don't have the opportunity. This is a really good way of making them stop and think about the amazing things that are going on in space all the time.
On a scale of 1 to 10, how excited are you about this?
A million. Yeah, I can't sleep. I'm just so excited about this happening. I talk about it all the time. I talk about it. My son, my two children are already excited about it, and it hasn't even happened yet. I think if I can get that across to some of my students, then I think we've succeeded in our aim of getting people interested in this.
Alison continued to teach and dream about the project through to the end of term. Finally, at the start of the summer holidays, the news from ARIS arrived. Alison's application was successful. However, it was news that would have to remain a secret from the students until the start of the term in 2016.
Well, I'm back in the main hall again now, which is very echo at the moment because nobody's here. I spent many a time as a student sat on the floor for school assembly. In a second, it's going to be packed out with around about 800 children, finding out for the first time that they've been awarded one of the lucky contacts with Tim Peake. Looks like what we're doing here is we're going to sort out the audio-visual presentation, right, for the entire school to find out that they've been one of the lucky 10 schools
indeed.
To get a live contact with Tim Peake. How excited are you about this?
I am very excited. Very, very excited.
Me too. How do you think the kids are going to be, though?
I don't know.
How are they going to react?
I don't know if they'll understand quite how amazing, what the magnitude of it is. I hope they do. I think the older ones certainly will. We did watch the launch. The children are all aware that he's up there.
Of course.
And that we're following him.
You kind of can't not be aware that he's up there flying around, can you?
I hope not.
At afternoon assembly, the senior school gets to hear about the exciting news from Alison herself.
So, Tim Peake, first British European Space Agency astronaut, is up there right now. I'd like to introduce Mr. Mike Marsh, and he is a really keen amateur radio enthusiast and a just generally tech type of guy. And he came in about a year and a half ago and said there was a possibility of schools entering a competition to speak live to the British astronaut whilst he's on the space station. I was like, no way. He said, yes way. He showed me this competition that we could enter, which I did. It's quite a major event. We've been selected. In order to be chosen to be in the audience on the day, or the one of the 10 asking the questions, you're going to send me a postcard from space. The main thing on this side is what you want to ask Tim, but you need to do your research, okay? Thank you very much.
Fantastic. So Alison's just literally announced to the students at school that they're one of the lucky 10 schools that has an ARIS contact with Tim Peake aboard the International Space Station. We're T-minus around about 2 or 3 months now, and I can't wait for the big day to happen. Excited? That's an understatement.
In the weeks leading up to the King's School's big day, the pupils are treated to What is Amateur Radio Days, hosted by members of the Sidmouth ARS, along with some practical fun thrown in.
What is actually going to happen in this lesson? Well, you will get a circuit board that's already been soldered for you. So please be very careful because it's really fragile. If you finish your radio earlier and you're happy that it's tuned in, then obviously you can just crack straight on and get on with making your case. But please make sure you leave some time to make the case for your radio. So these go into these, okay?
So we put these to one side, and then so it goes green, yellow, red, green, yellow, red. Wait, then
Just need to get the coloured
right
wires.
on the. So get that out of the way first.
Because it's red, yellow, green.
If you put the components on neat and tidy, it saves crackling and all that sort of stuff. It'll work quite nicely.
Top. So then we got this side that's right out with the cardboard and the bottom side right out.
Yeah.
Just looking around, everyone's on task, everyone's really focused and really getting stuck in, and I think they all really want to do well. They're all really excited about the contact that we're going to have with Tim Peake in May and being part of the Build-a-thon. I saw a couple of them when Dave was saying about what they're potentially going to be building at the Build-a-thon. Some of them look really excited, so hopefully we should have some good radios and have some good competition going forward. Have we got a signal yet?
Yeah, we've over by the window.
Brilliant.
Go over it and a whole load more of sellotape.
4 minutes! 4 minutes! I see what you've done. And actually, these look a little bit like someone's feet sticking up. So I'm just going to come and walk around and have a look at everyone's radios. And then I'm going to pick 2 teams to go through to our Build-a-thon on the 10th of May. So please do not do anything else to your radio. Did we get a signal in the end?
Yeah, I just start, but we just need to get it again.
Okay, cool. I mean, it's in a box. I can't change the volume though. Lovely. Where's our signal gone? Oh, yours is actually fully self-contained. Yeah. Boys at the window. I like that we've written the station on.
Oh yeah, I knew that off by heart.
So, the first team going through to the Build-a-thon is Darcy's team. Yes! For their lovely beds. Okay, and the second team going through great timing. I think because I think they've probably had the best signal out of everyone, is going to be Matt's team. Okay? So well done, everyone.
It's Sunday, the day before the big event, and the Aris team is on site to install the kit and test out the antennas, ready for the next day's pass at 10:28 BST.
We've seen the Goonhilly end of the operation, so you've got a dish there at Goonhilly. This is a fantastic demonstration, though, to the students of the capabilities of amateur radio and amateurs, because getting Tim's voice from space by radio, that is terrific. But to have high quality digital pictures coming from space as well, well, that is amazing.
You're right, Bob. Having the voice contact with Tim is fantastic in its own right. But when the live pictures appear on the main screen in the hall, it just lifts the whole occasion and really shows people what we can do with amateur television. That Goonhilly really is the backup to the main receiver, which is here, and it's been at the 10 schools. And very similar setup to Goonhilly in that it's a 1.2 metre tracking dish with the same software running on the PC. And so we receive the live ham TV transmissions here at the school, decode them and send them over the 5.6 gig Wi-Fi link into the main hall, where we then decode it and present it on the screen.
Here we are at the other end of the 5.6 gigahertz link. So the image from space is coming into here, which is essentially your TV gallery, really, isn't it?
Yes, as well as the main radio station for the actual contact on the other side of the stage, we have a fairly comprehensive setup here to do the audio and video production, both in the main hall, what people see on the screens in the main hall, but also doing the webcast, which is watched by hundreds of people on the web live, and is also doing the recording for the YouTube channel as well.
There's quite a lot of kit here to do this. I imagine there's quite a lot of switching you've got to do between cameras, between feeds, because you've got the feed coming in direct from the ISS that's coming from the Land Rover out there, different things that you need to go up on the screen, and also the stuff that's got to be going out on the net.
Yes, that's right. And Frank, M0AEU, is in charge of this side of the screen. And we've got a couple of cameras in the room. We've got the school's presentation PC, but also the 2 feeds from Goonhilly and from the local receiver, all of which Frank will use to then produce into the webcast that you watch at home.
Is it okay if I interrupt you a minute? I know that there's quite a lot that you guys have got to get set up before the contact. How's it going so far?
Good. We're having to do an awful lot on the ground because on the station, as far as Tim is concerned, he's just pressing a button. So he's not doing anything such as compensating for Doppler or anything else. We have to do that both on the uplink and the downlink. So we're employing a lot of equipment predominantly to help us automate as much of that as possible. So we start out with the TS2000, which is the rig that Kenwood very kindly loaned us for the duration of the Principia mission. It's still one of the best satellite rigs that is out there, and a number of us are very familiar with it, so we like using it. But critically, it does Doppler correction while we're transmitting, so we like to stay with it itself. From the radio, we go into a PA preamp, and that will boost our output for us before we then go into a choice of 2 antennas that we've got outside. So we've got a Waymo X Quad as one, which we can switch between vertical, horizontal, circular right and circular left polarizations, and we've also got a 10-element XY, which is fixed circular. So we're always switching between the two.
So this is covering all the angles. So coming back to the TS2000 there, the point about that is it's the only radio that really does what you need to do, that will shift on the Doppler on transmit.
So yes, we're doing all the Doppler correction here. We make use of computer programs to calculate that Doppler for us, to apply it via cat control to the radio itself. That controls both the rotator and the radio for us. But we also have backups, so we have another one sitting here ready and waiting, so in the event of something going wrong with computer control or whatever, we can switch over to this if necessary, and at the same time orientate the antennas for us in azimuth and elevation. For example, the 10-element one is fixed circular, but as the station comes overhead, we always see sort of a change going on with the signal from the station. And sometimes vertical is better, sometimes bits of horizontal are better, sometimes we're looking at circular right as well. So it's a case of checking the polarization, making sure we've got the best one to give us the best audio.
So the point about this is that there are so many variables. So essentially, this is experimental every time. You can't say, we've done the setup, this will work, and this always works the same way every time.
Exactly. It is a big experiment. We have so many things, and we were talking earlier as well about the station and the number of spacecraft on it, and the fact that from our perspective the spacecraft almost turns around between coming towards us and going away from us. So we have to look at all of these variables.
There is just one more thing actually that I've thought of, because this is all very belt and braces, but what happens if the TS2000 breaks?
Well, we plug another one in then.
Oh, you got one you prepared earlier?
We have one, we have a backup sitting ready and waiting, so we can very rapidly switch between this one and the main one there. We can, it's all pre-programmed as well, and it can quickly connect up and we can be back on air very quickly.
Pretty much a hot swap.
Exactly.
Well, to me, what this proves is such a fantastic example of amateurs operating at an incredibly professional level, because all of this team, they're all volunteers, but the effort and the precision and the organisation that goes into putting a link up like this together is absolutely amazing. So congratulations to you and your team.
Thank you. And we couldn't have done it without the incredible help of the UK Space Agency as well. They've been a wonderful partner. They've given us a great opportunity to demonstrate our skills. Our license says we have a self-learning, self-teaching type philosophy. That's what we do. That's what we try to enthuse the students with. The point is the majority of amateurs learn and teach themselves an awful lot of things, and that's what we want to pass on to the students.
Wow, this is amazing. I'm just imagining what it would be like to be one of those students who's going to be stood at this microphone tomorrow talking through this to Tim up there. So this is the main centre of things in terms of their experience.
Indeed it is, and we have the microphone as you said, but we've got the PTT button, so we're controlling the radio from here. Matthew, M6 MTI, is going to be our man on the mic tomorrow morning. He got his licence on Friday.
Yeah, that's why you were slightly hesitant remembering the call sign, because it's literally hot off the press.
Exactly, hot off the press. But we'll be here, or I'll be here. I've got a couple of computers here that are helping me with some more visuals, so that I don't have to keep going across to Carlos. But I have everybody in eye shot here.
Yeah.
So I can see Carlos, I can see Noel, who's looking at mixing from the audio from the different locations, and we've got Frank and Graham and Noel up this side as well as Phil down there on the web stream, and John on the cameras as well. So hopefully everything is fine there. And as you were asking about backups before, in case we have a problem with any of the microphone leads or whatever, we can always drop to an emergency backup, which will be switched in as well, so we can carry on from the same spot.
It is an incredibly complex operation, this, but you've thought of everything. How relaxed are you going to be? I know you guys will be going off and having a meal in a minute, and then it's a real early start tomorrow before the contact itself. Is it a tense thing for you until it's done?
The contact is never guaranteed until the moment Tim's voice is heard. So we're always working and trying to make sure that we can get it. We're trying to anticipate issues. Once we hear Tim's voice, you usually see a nice response from all of us. Until then, we just like to do the job and make sure it works.
It's just like when you see the videos of Mission Control, isn't it? In Houston, when whatever's supposed to happen happens.
Yes.
And they all cheer, except you can't cheer, but you will be smiling.
Oh, don't worry, there'll be a few cheers.
It's been a long time since a new radio came along that's a real game changer. But at last, the wait is over. ICOM's IC7300 is a truly innovative HF transceiver bringing you all the benefits of SDR in a compact desktop rig, offering the kind of performance usually only found in much more expensive radios. The large colour touchscreen gives you easy control over the IC7300's extensive range of functions, such as the high-performance real-time spectrum scope, high-resolution waterfall and audio scope. RF direct sampling, 15 discrete bandpass filters matched with class-leading reciprocal dynamic range and phase noise characteristics, all mean top-flight, all-mode performance, from 160 to 4 meters. There's even a built-in ATU. But don't just take our word for it, try it for yourself. The game-changing IC7300 is on demonstration now at the new Martin Lynch & Son Superstore, or see the full specs and order online now. The IC7300. Once you've seen it, you'll want one.
Alison, morning.
Hello.
Can I grab you for a
yes,
second?
very quickly.
I know it's not very busy today. Here we are, the biggest day.
I know, at last.
At last.
2 years in the planning almost, and now for 10 minutes, magic at school. How are you feeling today, if that's not a stupid question?
Yeah, excited, nervous, scared. But yeah, I'm actually really glad the day's here now, because it's been all these years trying to get it to happen. Basically, at this point, we can just hand over to these guys.
I know.
It's all about students now, which is great.
Hi, Mike, can I interrupt you a minute?
Yeah.
Nice to see you again. Right, now, Mike, you're the chairman of the RSGB Youth Committee, and there's been somebody from the Youth Committee at every one of these contacts with Tim, hasn't there?
Yeah, so this is a 10th contact, so this is the last one. There's been one of us at each contact, normally doing a presentation about the various opportunities there are for young people in the hobby.
Now, I imagine that the idea from the Space Agency is to stimulate the scientists of tomorrow, and then for radio amateurs, for us, we're trying to encourage and stimulate the radio amateurs of tomorrow. So have you had some success with that?
Yeah, we've had a lot of success. We've had lots of people follow it up, lots of people roll onto foundation courses, and of course predominantly young people. So our objective really in this is to show young people not necessarily just amateur radio, but the wireless technology. So all of the various different opportunities there are in amateur radio, the building, the experimentation, so the real fun side and the nitty-gritty bit of amateur radio that young people don't normally see.
So having this space angle has been a great peg to hang the radio amateur story on, because to get people away from their mobile phones and their tablets and all of that, you need something that's really going to fire their imagination.
Definitely. One of the really good things with this is that young people can go on their tablets, their phones, they can follow everything that's going on, they can go on the live stream. So they can use their modern gadgets and then they can strip it back to the amateur radio that's outside and see what's going on in real time.
Matt, you've got the biggest job of the day. You're going to be contact leader.
Yeah.
How are you feeling about that?
Well, obviously very excited, very privileged, because I'm sure there's a lot of people that would give quite a lot to be talking to the space station. I'm insanely lucky, obviously, but yeah, a little bit nervous.
And it's not just you talking to the space station. This is actually going to be your first QSO on amateur radio.
It is. I only received my call sign on Friday, so and I've been so busy setting up for this over the weekend, haven't had time to even buy my first radio. So this is going to be my first call to anywhere.
I'm super jealous. In your logbook, the first call that you put in there is Tim Peake.
It's insane.
On the International Space Station.
I know, it's incredible. As I say, it's a huge privilege. So
well, good luck, man. Enjoy the
thank you very
day,
much.
And welcome to the crazy world of amateur radio.
Thank you very much.
So it's about 25 minutes now to the actual contact. There's tremendous excitement in the room and everybody's getting really, wound up, ready for the big event. What does it mean to the UK Space Agency, the contacts like this?
Well, our biggest goal, because I'm in the education team, is obviously to get children interested in STEM, which is science, technology, engineering and maths. And I really think that this has inspired them, it's really excited them, and it's got this whole school doing activities in science and technology, engineering and maths throughout the whole week and throughout the whole year, the whole school year as well. And this is just the pinnacle of that whole programme.
So the object of this then, Sue, is to reach out to the possible scientists of tomorrow.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, it's young children. We had a primary school last week, right up to adults and, doing A-levels and thinking about university options. It really does interest them. And there's so many different things they can get into as well. It's not just physics and maths. They can have a look at, there's biology experiments going on. There's filming competitions that the UK Space Agency have run in partnership with Interfilm. There's, computer programming. There's just so many different things they can get into that there really is something for everyone, I think.
And I know that Tim is incredibly busy up there. There's so much work they have to do. And I think that finding a window for these contacts is quite difficult, isn't it?
It really is. I mean, everyone says, but it's only 10 minutes. But they have to get up and they have to have a daily planning conference right at, sort of 7, 8 o'clock in the morning, and then they are scheduled all the way through. I mean, he's busy doing science experiments all the time, and then trying to fit in any kind of educational aspect, which, as I said, he's really enthusiastic about, trying to fit that in, and just this 10 minutes of call is actually quite a difficult thing to do. So I know it's taken the ARIS team a lot of negotiations to try and fit that into his schedule.
He never looks harassed though, does
No,
he?
he doesn't. He's always smiling. So as I said, he genuinely really enjoys doing this. So he will find the time if he can, and it's just then up to the planners to try and fit it in for him. So yeah, he's as cool as a cucumber.
Right from the start, the very first historic moment with Sandringham, through all of the different contracts, and who can forget the Ashley one with a little girl and her teddy bear for moral support. It's just been brilliant.
Just as the band starts
Absolutely.
rocking out. Well, we're in a young environment,
We
and
are.
that's a good thing about being in the schools at the moment. Do you think this is doing a massive thing for amateur radio amongst the youngsters? And has the RSGB seen a kind of influx of interest from younger generation?
Definitely. Obviously, the schools have been participating, and some of their pupils have already taken the foundation licence so they can lead the contacts. As a result of that, a number of those schools have already set up amateur radio clubs, which has drawn in other pupils and developed the interest. So that's something that's worked really well. Because of the flurry of national and local publicity, our regional team have also had requests from other schools to go in, talk to their pupils, explain about amateur radio, and they've been able to take in the equipment to let them to listen to the Tim Peake Contacts live. So there's lots been happening there. We've shown the video, obviously, that you've worked with us on, and that's even been shown at the Edinburgh Science Festival last month. So lots and lots of seeds have been sown, and I think we're going to be working on those now. For us, whilst this has been incredibly exciting, today isn't the end. It's just the beginning, really, of the work that we're going to be doing to developing that through the school clubs, through YOTA month in December, working with the local clubs to support the schools and the other schools in their region. And we've been developing a schools link programme as well to be looking at things on a curriculum level. So looking at how amateur radio can be introduced there as well.
Fantastic, exciting times ahead, and hopefully lots more youngsters coming on board our amazing hobby.
Oh, brilliant. Yeah, it'd be great.
All right, fancy a dance?
Perfect.
Come on then.
In the last episode of TX Factor, we did a little bit of self-promotion. We sang our praises and blew our own trumpet about the programmes we've made over the past few years and how we would like to continue to provide our viewers with a quality product. Well, you the loyal viewers responded with some bouquets and gifts, and we're very grateful for the response. Your generosity has gone some way in helping us to cover the topics in this episode, a feature that's taken well over 18 months to produce. As always, we're grateful to our main sponsor, Martin Lynch & Sons, who continues to support TX Factor, and we wish Martin a happy 60th birthday. If you would like to help out in any small way, you'll find more details about how TX Factor is funded, the people behind the project, and what to click if you'd like to make a donation. Every penny raised will go towards future TX Factor episodes and will help to ensure the frequency and quality of the shows remains high. Thanks again for your support, and we hope you continue to enjoy the shows. TX Factor, the only UK show dedicated to all things radio.
Okay, so we've got everybody ready. Remember, guys, what I said before? Just calm, gentle, good voice, and nice, clear and loud, and we'll hopefully have a really good time. Go.
GB1SS, Golf Bravo 1 Sierra Sierra. This is GB1 OSM, Golf Bravo 1 Oscar Sierra Mike, calling and standing by for a scheduled contact with the International Space Station. Over. GB1SS, Golf Bravo 1 Sierra Sierra. This is GB1 OSM, Golf Bravo 1 Oscar Sierra Mike, calling and standing by for a scheduled contact with the International Space Station. Over.
Golf Bravo 1 Sierra Sierra, this is Golf Bravo 1 Oscar Sierra Mike calling and standing by for a scheduled contact with the International Space Station. Over.
Hello, Golf Bravo 1 Oscar Sierra Mike, this is Golf Bravo 1 Sierra Sierra, I read you 5 by 9, how me over?
GB1 OSM, Golf Bravo 1 Oscar Sierra Mike returning. Welcome Tim to the King's School in Ottery St Mary. We have you on Ham TV, please give us a wave. Are you ready for your first question? Over.
Good morning everybody at the King's School in Ottery St Mary and Devon. It's great to talk to you this morning. I'm ready for the first question. Over.
Hi, this is Lara. You have missed Christmas and Easter with your friends and family. How have you celebrated big events in space? Over.
Hi Lara, you know we're a small crew of 6 up here, but we celebrate events by having a meal together and having some of our special food. That's the nice way to celebrate events, and of course we can always call friends and family as well. Over.
Hi Tim, this is Harry Copping. We have seen videos of you playing about in microgravity on the ISS. What is your favourite thing to do when weightless? Over.
Hi Harry, my favourite thing to do are forward somersaults. They're lots of fun. I think I'm up to 20 now in a row there before I bump into something, so I've got a private competition going with myself. Over.
Hi, I'm Elizabeth. From your elevated vantage point looking down on the Earth, has your perception of the events on our planet, such as conflicts and wars, been altered? Does the change in perception give any insight that we could learn from? Over.
Hi Elizabeth, that's a great question. We do get a very different perspective of planet Earth from up here, and I think that you appreciate the planet as a whole a lot more. I mean, certainly in terms of weather systems, for example at the moment looking at the fires in Alberta and seeing how that smoke is affecting the whole continent of North America, it does give you a different perspective of our planet, and certainly a huge appreciation for how fragile our atmosphere is as well. Over.
Having spent many months looking at the Earth from afar, where is the first place you would go on a family holiday when you get home? Over.
You know, there are so many beautiful places on Earth that I would like to visit, but I think New Zealand in particular looks beautiful, so I'd like to take the family camping there. Over.
Hi, I'm Freddie. Over 500 astronauts have been into space, but only 12 have ever set foot on the moon. Do you think that we will return people to the moon again in the future? Over.
Hi Freddie, yes, I think we will return people to the moon, hopefully in the short term as well, and when we go there it will be to set up permanent habitation modules, not just for a short visit, and all the work that we're doing on the International Space Station at the moment is learning how we can live and work in space for long periods of time, which is the next step to the moon and then Mars and then beyond into the solar system. Over.
I'm Naomi. We have learnt about your experiments on how the human body adapts to conditions in space. How will the research improve our quality of life on Earth? Over.
Hi Naomi, well there are many things that will improve the quality of life on Earth. I mean, in particular we're looking into the aging system quite a lot with a lot of the human life science research that we're doing. And so that will help our aging population to remain fit and healthier for longer, for which will benefit everybody. And also, of course, there are specific diseases that we're looking into in respect of viruses and protein crystal growth that can help people with diabetes and motor neuron disorders, that kind of thing. Over.
Hi, I'm Robert. Taking into account of Einstein's theory of relativity, do you think you are aging slower because you are travelling faster than Earth? Over.
Hi Robert, that's a great question. Yes, I will be aging just very, very slightly slower, but we're talking hundredths of a second slower in a 6-month stay. And of course, although I'm travelling faster, I'm also in a slightly weaker gravity field up here, so you have to take that into account too. Over.
This is Ben. I often stare into the inky blackness of space and wonder, if the universe is expanding, then what is it expanding into? Has your time in space given you any insight? Over.
Hello Ben, well I can promise you're not alone in thinking about that question. There are many people who wonder the same thing, and the greatest scientific minds in the world have still not answered that question. I'm afraid I don't have any answers for you either, but I do often think about it, and certainly our time on board the space station is looking into the universe. We have many experiments that are going on, searching for things such as dark energy and dark matter that may help us to answer some of these questions. Over.
Hi, it's Robbie. Is the sunrise more spectacular from your perspective? Over.
Hello, Robbie. Yes, sunrise and sunset are particularly spectacular. I love going to the cupola and watching them anytime I can and trying to capture the stunning colours on camera as well. So yes, I do think they're very spectacular up here. Over.
Hi, this is Emily. After 6 years of training to be an astronaut, I bet it's all been worth it. The experiments you are doing are amazing. But did you ever struggle with science at school, and what would you say to someone that finds it difficult?
Hi Emily, yes, I studied maths, physics and chemistry at school. I love the science. Sometimes the maths underlying the science I found more complicated. I found the practical elements of science much easier to grasp. So I got some extra help with the maths, and I would say to anybody who's struggling is just stick with it, talk to people, try and find out people who can help, and also try and find out what it is that interests you. And as soon as you put things into perspective with something that really interests you, and for me it was flying that I was passionate about, the maths all fell into place. Over.
GB1 SS, GB1 OSM returning. Tim, that was incredible. Everyone here wants to say a quick thank you.
GB1 OSM to GB1 SS. Tim, this is Kieran, and on behalf of the ARIS Operations UK team, thank you very much for such a superb mission, and we all look forward to your safe arrival back on Earth. This is the ARIS UK Operations team signing off, and GB1 OSM off and clear.
Well, thank you very much to everyone at the King's School in Ottery St Mary and Devon. It's been great talking to you this morning. Great questions. Thank you, Kieran. And I know that you'd like to thank the rest of your team as well. So on behalf of Kieran, thank you to Carlos, Howard, Graham, Noel, Frank, Phil and John for all the help throughout the mission with the wonderful ARIS contacts.
Enjoy your day, everybody, and signing out from the International Space Station. Goodbye.
But absolutely brilliant. Everything we asked, a few really good questions. I hope you heard the answers really nice and clear. We'll have them on YouTube for you later. But congratulations and well done for talking to Tim Peake on the International Space Station.
So, it's done, Graham. The 10th and final contact. I'm hoarse with the cheering when that picture of Tim appeared on the screen.
Yes.
What an atmosphere.
It's magic. The adrenaline's building up and building up and building up, and the noise, and then you just hear the radio amateurs amongst us heard his signal, heard his voice right in the noise, and I don't think anybody else in the room, and we called him again, and then the signal got louder, and then the pictures arrived, the images arrived, and then it just worked perfectly. It was super, and it was a great finale, so it couldn't be better.
Everybody in the room was completely blown away by that, but it must be a massive relief for you guys when it goes that well.
Yes, but it's just to see the look on the students' faces and the audience generally. They really capture that, what it's all about. It's sprinkling the magic dust of science and technology and amateur radio with those, and hopefully it will be a day they'll remember, and go on and do something good in their lives to put technology first.
And with your ATV hat on, perfect pictures from space.
Yeah, wonderful pictures. Yeah, almost as long as the voice as well, the voice contact. So no, Goon Hilly worked really, really well, and overall great success.
I never thought I'd get picked. It was quite a big surprise for me, but I was really happy when I did.
Remind us of your question again.
It was, did you ever struggle with science at school? What would you say to anyone that finds it difficult?
And is there a personal note in that question for you?
Yeah, I really struggle with physics, and I was just kind of wondering, I know he's an astronaut, but did he ever struggle with science?
It was interesting that he said the maths, he found that really hard.
Yeah, it was. I was quite surprised because I kind of thought, he probably found it quite easy, but maybe not everything. He did say some of it he found quite complicated. So.
What was it like hearing Tim's voice coming from space?
Well, start of all, I was a bit nervous, but when I heard his voice, I was just waiting to speak to him.
What was it like in the build-up for you, the last few days before standing up there in front of all these cameras and all these people and asking your question?
A little scared, and as we got picked, 28 of us got picked, and then that got sent off to Russia in the agency. and they picked 10 people, and I was just crossing my fingers hoping that it would be me. And there I am, standing up in the stage and written in the history books that...
Exactly, you can tell everybody you ever know for the rest of your life, I spoke to Tim Peake in space.
Amazing.
My question was, what is your favourite thing to do when weightless?
Now that's a really good question.
Yeah.
And you had to think of good questions in order to get picked.
Yeah.
Were you happy with his answer?
I was, even though I couldn't particularly hear it. I think he said he liked doing somersaults.
He did, yeah. Oh, so that's what you've got to do now. You're going to go home and practice your somersaults if you want to be an astronaut.
Got it.
Okay. And what was your question?
I asked him if he would ever return people back into the moon.
And is that because you think you're about the right age that if they do, you could be going?
No, I'm just really interested in going into space and living in different places.
Yeah. Is it something you'd be interested in doing yourself?
Yeah, I'd love to go into space. It'd be amazing, definitely.
So a real inspiration to you?
Yeah, 100%, yeah.
How was it as an experience for you?
It was very different, and I really enjoyed it. I thought I'd be a bit nervous and I'd make mistakes and things, but it was just really different, and I really enjoyed it.
What will you be saying to your family when you get home today?
I think they'll be really proud, and then they'll be really happy and looking at it all the time.
Well, I asked, is the sunrise more spectacular in your perspective? And he replied saying, oh, it's amazing, he's always taking photos. Even though they don't have that many windows or anything in there, he's still taking loads of photos and everything.
What would you be saying to your family when you get home today about your experiences today?
Oh, it was just amazing, speechless really. No words can describe it really. You had to be there to experience it really.
So, Kieran, tired and emotional after that?
Delighted, absolutely ecstatic. It's brilliant sign off from Tim, a lovely response from him, and just a really, really good contact and a brilliant end to the Aris Principia mission.
I couldn't help noticing, Kieran, that there was a little bit of a catch in your voice as you were sort of saying thank you to everybody at this being the last of these Aris contacts. A bit of an emotional moment for you?
If there was a little bit of the last space shuttle landing, and for the very last time, it just seemed appropriate. We've been around the country, we've done some amazing contacts, we've seen some amazing schools, and this was just crying on the thorn for us.
And I think it's fair to say you have inspired a lot of younger people in terms of both science and amateur radio. And Tim, of course, has been a massive inspiration, but what you've done is given him that channel of communication to do that inspirational work. So it must be a very proud moment for you.
It is, and I'm looking forward to at some point in the future giving him a great big handshake. I think he's done a brilliant job. He's a fantastic ambassador, and he really took the amateur radio side of it to heart and has done, I think, a brilliant job.
Well, congratulations to you and all of your team. You've done a superb job, and this is a great example of amateur radio being extremely professional.
This wasn't an amateur show. This was well thought out, well planned, well rehearsed, and some very dedicated radio amateurs doing their absolute best. And like I said, I think it's top-notch professional.
Well, there we are. What an episode of TX Factor this has been, and what a story it has been. A story that began with a science teacher who wanted to do more than just engage in the classroom. She wanted to take her pupils out into space, and that's what she's done today. So Alison did a fantastic job, all of the students here at the King's School in Ottery St Mary, and I know she's very, very proud of them. And the Aris team have done an incredible job. And remember, we've been talking to the International Space Station today using those big antennas out there you saw earlier, but you could have heard that downlink on 145800 just on a little handheld like this. And of course, it's also very easy to hear the packet transmissions on 145825 from the International Space Station. And it's a lot easier than you may think to actually have contacts via the amateur radio satellite. So in a future episode of TX Factor, we're going to be talking about how easy it is for you to start sending signals to space and back. There's amateur radio satellites to use up there, so we'll be finding out about that. Join us next time for the TX Factor, and remember, if you want to find out more about any of the things in today's show, it's all on our show pages at txfactor.co.uk.
TX Factor is brought to you in association with Martin Lynch & Sons, the world's favourite ham store.